Sure. My name is Jack Pattillo. I'm one of the co-creators of Achievement Hunter. I've been working at Rooster Teeth for about 9 years now. And I've been playing video games for the good portion of my life and been paid to play them for the last decade or so.
And what do you set out to achieve when creating your content?
So for our content, really, our goal is to make you feel like you've got friends on the other side of the camera. So the idea is like if you were sitting on a couch playing with your buddies, watching us play video games, that's the kind of the sort of vibe we're going for. So it's like literally you're just kind of on there with us playing games. Your friends crap talk each other, and but you're just there with us and try to make you feel like included and part of the group.
Yeah. Do you ever set out to create content more than just to entertain, or is everything else just a benefit?
No, we get to do a lot of really cool stuff at Rooster Teeth where, like the content we make is a lot of fun, but really the community that's around our content, that's the incredible part. Like we have fans all over the planet. This community has grown larger and larger and larger, and getting to go all over the world and meet people who love our content and like that I wouldn't be here without. So like right now we're in London because we have enough community out here to actually support us enough to bring a full convention to London, which is incredible. And even beyond that, like I met my wife through our community, and like she was running the RT group in Australia, and she helped create that, and it became thousands of members. And so she came to Austin for one of our conventions, and we became buddies. And then one thing led to another. A few years later, we're dating, and so it's pretty cool. Sort of the side effects of what we get to do. I mean, what we do seems like at its base core kind of very simple. It's just a bunch of guys playing video games or making cartoons, but the community that's sprung up around it is something incredible.
And when I first said about mental health and gaming specifically. Mm-hmm. Was that because nobody's yet to show any level of surprise when I've said that. Is it an obvious connection for you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, our audience is primarily a lot of kind of younger people, and we've over the last few years, especially, we've kind of seen this sort of stigma around mental illness, sort of not fading away. It's still very much there, but people are finally talking about it. And through our charity work, I'm actually the director of charity at Rooster Teeth. Through our charity work, we're trying to really kind of shine a light on this stuff because it is still kind of quiet, and people are still embarrassed to be depressed. And it's like, you have no reason to. I mean, depression is a real thing. And unfortunately, if someone gets a cut or someone gets a wound, you can spot that and be like, oh, you're sick, or, oh, you need help. Depression is silent, and it's so tricky. And so a lot of people internalize that and keep it quiet because they feel embarrassed, that feel like, oh, it's not really a disease, it's not really, an injury. So why should I talk about this? And people need to understand, like, depression is a real thing. It's a real problem. And I think the first step we need to do is really kind of bring it out to the open and start talking about it more. And if our platform is a chance to actually kind of shine a light on that and shine a light on those issues, that's absolutely what I want to do. And fortunately, with Rooster Teeth, I've been able to do some amazing charity work in Austin, where we work with Extra Life, which is a charity based in the U.S., and they work with Children's Miracle Network hospitals all over. And the cool thing about that is you get to pick which hospital your donations go to, and we have a local hospital in Austin. And as part of that, with the money we've raised, we've actually helped build an entire mental health unit at this facility, at the Dell Children's Hospital in Austin. And so it's been, we've raised millions of dollars for this hospital, and now with that, we actually have a healing garden. The Rooster Teeth Healing Garden is a part of this entire mental health unit, and our name is on the side of that building, and it shows how important that is to us. And we're going to keep supporting them in whatever way we can. And the more and more we focus on it, the more we draw attention to it, the more hopefully people talk about it and make this less of a stigma and more of like, all right, what can we do about this? How do I interact with this? And spread the word, really.
Yeah. At what point did it become a conversation for you at Rooster Teeth?
Really, the point it became a conversation for me is my wife deals with a lot of depression and anxiety issues, and I am very lucky and very fortunate that I've never really dealt with that kind of stuff. And she really kind of brought it up and showed me what she's going through, and not understanding at first was kind of. I felt very bad because it was like I'm seeing my wife in pain, and there's no medicine. There's no like, oh, I can't give you a Band-Aid and make this better, And it's like, okay, how can I talk through this? And it's really opened my eyes to kind of this problem and how just widespread it is. And that's really kind of the sort of starting point for me was through her, and she really opened my eyes to it and has been my driving force to really, push and push and push. And working with her side by side has been incredible. And so Katie is, she is my muse. She's the reason why I do so many things I do, and why I'm the way I am, like in a positive light, I should say.
There's a lot of negative associations when it comes to gaming specifically, and mental health in terms of how it can negatively affect it. Do you think it's exaggerated, or do you think there are certain negatives to it?
I think there's some negative things that come with video gaming in general. I think when you kind of really break it down on a core level, it's not as bad, but you see a lot of toxic masculinity in particular. A lot of kind of bravado, sort of like how you can't beat me, that kind of like smack talking where it gets to a certain level. But I think for the most part, like you're seeing more people sort of get away from that. Actually, like, sort of like, okay, like I enjoy competition. Doesn't mean I have to rub your face in it if I beat you. And I see you're seeing more and more people kind of like, the spirit of competition's there, but I think we're finally getting to a point where it's like, oh, like I can enjoy this whether or not I win, and but yeah, I mean, it certainly is there, and where, I mean, it's going to be there, as long as two people are fighting over something, there's going to be some kind of, some toughness there, some like sort of back and forth, and hopefully we can sort of mitigate that a little bit and sort of be like, all right, you don't have to win everything. It's not that big of a deal. You don't have to be beat your chest every time you win a game, and so. And hopefully, I mean, like, especially the kind of stuff we do at Achievement Hunter is like we're relatively mediocre game players, and so it's nice, not having to win every single thing we do, and we can still have a fun time doing it. And I think showing our community that is very important. It's like you can have fun with your friends and not have to be the best at everything you do, and still have a really good time and come out of it positive.
What role do you think you, in the content you create, and Rooster Teeth as a whole, have to play in your own community's mental health?
Yeah, well, I think the cool thing about Rooster Teeth is like we are literally like a planet-wide community now. We have community groups literally all over the planet, from London to all over Europe, all over Australia, all over Asia, and I mean of course all over the United States and North America. But, on a local level, it's really great because we can work with our local children's hospital, Dell Children's, right there in Austin, and make direct impacts. Like, I've had the opportunities to meet some of the doctors who work there. And, I've met some patients that have gone through there. And I can't tell you how many conventions I've gone to where I've had fans come up and be like, your content helped me. And it's like, I was feeling down, or I was feeling depressed, and I watched your stuff and it cheered me up. And that, it breaks my heart each and every time, because I hate hearing people go through pain, but it also makes me feel really happy that we can be there to supply them, a crutch when they need it. And that's important to me. And like I hope every time that comes up, like every time it's like the most heartwarming thing ever. And like knowing that me being a dumb guy playing video games can help someone out there. And so it's important. But I mean, like it's crazy how large we've gotten, but we can still have those sort of positive impacts on an individual level.
Did it surprise you the first time you had one of those moments?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, again, like really when it comes down to it, where's the bunch of guys being jerks to each other playing video games? And if people can take from that sort of that positive reinforcement and that positive energy, and they kind of see, like, God, I hate it, but like I've been called a role model, which is like, I never set out to do anything like that, but it's like the responsibility that comes with it. I don't take that for granted. I try to live my life how I would want everyone else to live their life. And I try to be as positive as I can and spread as much love as possible. And so, yeah. And so when you say like touch the community, it's literally the planet.
Yeah. How important are events like RTX?
I think events like RTX are incredibly important. Communities coming together, or individuals coming together, sometimes maybe like not knowing anyone, like literally coming to these things alone. They know they can come to a room like downstairs, and every single person in that room, they have something in common with. They can literally start talking to anyone there, and they know they've got something in common. They might not like the same shows, but they know they like something involved with Rooster Teeth. And so it's incredible. There's actually a group that showed up called the Loners. as the Loners Club, I think is the name of it. And it was a bunch of people who were like, hey, I'm going to RTX for the first time. I don't have anyone to go with. Is anyone else also in that situation? Apparently last year they had like 15 people, and this year they have like 300. So it's like, I mean, that right there is like, that's so cool that we're making these personal connections. And, so many people, even someone said, I wrote something on Twitter and someone responded to it, and they meant to respond to me, but instead they replied to me and whoever else that was. And then they randomly became friends with that other person on Twitter. And they became friends like over 4 years, and they just met this weekend for the first time ever. And it's like, that's so cool. And it's like, getting to do what we do, it's so, I don't know. It's not dumb, but I mean, it's fun. It's goofy, and the idea that like this sort of positive outcome can come from it. It's amazing to me.
It's awesome to hear. To be fair, I've heard so many of those stories about the community.
Oh yeah. Oh, even Katie, my wife. Like, I met her because she was running the RT community group out of Australia. She was Rooteeth, which is the Sydney, Australia group. And so she brought, like, I think the very first RTX in Austin, she was there with like 4 or 5 other people that were from Australia. And I was like, wow. And we'd been friends online, but then we met face to face. And then, I went over there for a couple times and hung out with her. And, a few years later, again, we got married. So, I mean, that small little community is branched out. And now literally we have family all over the planet.
We have, there have been a couple of times in the interviews we've had where we've touched upon like the personalities you guys present, because not in terms of them being fake, but in terms of like exaggerated personalities. Do you ever find it affecting your mental health, like that kind of presentation?
I don't know if I find it affecting my mental health, but I definitely, me more so than some other people, I definitely play me. Like the character, quote unquote, that you see of me is just me just ratcheted up a little bit. Like some people you see someone like Dr. Disrespect on Twitch, where he's very much playing a character or caricature of someone, where it's like me, I'm just like, what I radiate in video games is who I am. It makes it a lot easier than trying to keep up sort of a persona. But yeah, again, I try to give what I want to get. So I try to be very positive, very, very happy, even being surrounded sometimes by some lunatics. It's still nice to kind of be the voice of sanity.
Yeah. I think we're more or less done, but just to kind of finish,
Sure.
Is there anything you want to say specific, or what cropped into your mind when you first heard we were talking about mental health and gaming?
The first time I heard you guys were talking about mental health and gaming, I got an email from our like PR department, and they're like, "Hey, these guys want to talk to you. Would you be interested?" And I literally wrote back 100%. Yes, absolutely. I want to talk, because, again, I've said it before, but the more we can talk about this, the more open we can be about it, the more we can bring this into the spotlight, the less stigma is going to be around it, and the more people can actually talk about it, and the more we can heal together. And so even if you aren't directly affected, I can guarantee you know someone who is, whether or not you personally know they are, but I promise you they are, whether or not you know. And so it's important to know how to talk to someone like that, how to understand what they're going through. And it's so unique, because every individual is completely different. Like there's no like, oh, if they're dealing with this, then you say this and you're done. There's no easy cure. It's all about discussion and talking and just being honest to each other.
Awesome. That's a really good way to finish it up.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very much.
Awesome.